Hello, Shawboy616, and welcome to a Film Friday. I actually didn't have a video planned at all until kind of right now. Given that Parasite just won Best Picture, being the first South Korean film to do so, and first foreign language film to do so, based on that, I went on Twitter and I saw a bunch of people were having a sudden interest in foreign films, most specifically with Korea. So I started thinking about the different Korean films I've seen and which ones do I like that I'd like to recommend to some of my friends or whoever the hell decides to watch this. And looking through, I've watched about 30 something or nearly 40 Korean films, and a lot of them I thought were great films that more people should see. Some of them, like if you were to look up best Korean movies, these might pop up on those lists, but I wanted to say the ones that I personally like that I'd recommend to a broader audience or to someone that's just interested in getting into Korean cinema. So without further ado, let's just hop right in and start with another Bong Joon-ho film. Bong Joon-ho is not new to making films. This film that I'm about to talk about came out back in 2003. And that movie is Memories of Murder starring Song Kang-ho. I really hope I'm saying his name right. I love this actor. He's great. He's the one that played the dad in Parasite. This movie is about a real serial murder case that happened in Korea. There were several bodies piling up, and then the police could never figure out who it was, and it went unsolved for years. When the movie was made, the killer was not found. Song Kang-ho plays a detective that is put on the task force to find the serial killer. They keep getting more and more clues, but they can never find the real killers. Instead, what these cops are known for is for beating confessions out of people, even if they didn't do it. So they try to take the same approach, but then the killings keep happening. So they have to do some real police work to find out who it is. This was my first film from Bong Joon-ho. I haven't seen very many of his, but they are on my list. So if you're watching this, you've already seen some movies, and you're thinking, it's like, oh, why didn't you say that? Well, it's because I haven't seen it. This one I would highly recommend if you're into like murder mysteries or just crime thrillers of any kind. This is a very good one to start with. And if you liked Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, just go ahead and look him up, look up all his movies. This is the one I'd recommend first. Another Korean director you'll probably find very quickly after looking through his movies is Park Chan-wook, who is best known for his Vengeance trilogy, which includes the movies Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Lady Vengeance, also known as Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. The one I would pick out of the three, however, is Old Boy. I'm not really going in any particular order here. I'm just going by the ones that I really like, and personally, Old Boy is one of my favorite movies just ever. Old Boy follows the story of a middle-aged man named Odesu. One night, while in a police station for his drunken behavior, he is bailed out by a friend and upon release is then kidnapped by an unknown person and locked away for 15 years with no contact with the outside world besides a television. After the 15 years, he is suddenly released and is then given the task of figuring out who locked him up and why within 5 days. This is one of those movies you just kind of had to watch. I don't really want to accidentally spoil anything, so I don't talk about too much, but I love the acting in this. I love the way the film looks. The soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks for any movie ever. It's constantly playing in my head. I'm listening to it every chance I get. It's a great movie. I actually kind of want to go and watch it again right now. Also, just look up Park Chan-wook. He has plenty of great films, some of which I will mention in this list. He does all kinds of things. He has other thrillers. He's even tapped into the romance a bit, a little bit of kind of comedy. Makes some very unique films, and I'm still going through his filmography right now. Sticking with the theme of vengeance, I will now recommend the Kim Ji-woon film I Saw the Devil. This was one of the first Korean movies I had seen because it was on Hulu. It's possible that it still is, so that's a good way to check it out. Starring Lee Byung-hun, I really hope I'm not butchering these Korean names. He plays a secret agent. I don't know why they refer to him as secret agent on these things. I would say it's like his job would be like the equivalent of an FBI agent or something, I think. But after his wife is suddenly murdered by an unknown maniac, he takes upon himself to find out who it is and take vengeance. The serial killer in this movie is played by the lead of Old Boy, Choi Min-sik. And the whole movie is pretty much a cat and mouse chase of this agent trying to find this serial killer. He finally finds out who it is, but every time he gets close, he lets him go. What's interesting about this movie is why he's doing that and what's compelling him to keep on doing this, even though he has this person. The story of this film is not about him finding who it is, it's about how he takes vengeance. It's a very dark and graphic movie. Now, when I watched Old Boy, I was initially watching it because I always heard it's like one of the most brutal movies ever. I really don't think it's that graphic or brutal or anything, but I still love the movie. I Saw the Devil, however, is definitely a graphic serial killer film. It's also a very strong thriller. Great performances. It's very dark in tone. Nice soundtrack that fits the theme of the movie. I really enjoy this one. It's one of my favorites all time. Next on this list, another movie starring Song Kang-ho. He is a popular actor. He's got to be. He's in a lot of great Korean movies, and I adore this one. Jang Hoon film A Taxi Driver. I'm reading the names here just to be sure I get them right, so bear with me here. A Taxi Driver is based on a true story. This taxi driver is in need of work, and he hears of this job that would pay very highly going to this town that's been cut off from everyone else. A German reporter is wanting to get in so he can get the story and release it publicly to the world. Upon hearing about this job, he takes it upon himself to take this reporter in, not knowing what's happening in the city inside. And when he's there, he takes it on himself to become a part of the mission and be sure the story gets out. Once again, I don't want to get into it, but since it's based on a true story, if you've heard about it, which I'm not sure how many people have, I hadn't heard of it until I saw this movie. I just wanted to watch it because of Song Kang-ho. I've loved all of his movies so far. It's very, it's a little depressing, I guess, because of the things that are happening to some of the characters you see and like the events that occurred. But it's also one of those like kind of heartwarming stories from the friendships that developed throughout. It's a very emotionally driven movie, and I really like movies like this, that the true story and like what they do with it. I recommend this if you're into those sort of movies. Next up is a Korean War film directed by John H. Lee, known as 71 Into the Fire. 71 Into the Fire follows some of the student soldiers that took part in the Korean War. The student soldiers were just that. They were students that became soldiers because of the Korean War that had broken out. The thing about these student soldiers is they were kind of forced into war almost immediately. They didn't have nearly enough time to train properly. If anything, they only had a few days of boot camp if they even got that. At most, they were armed and left on their own with, at the very least, some sort of soldier that was officially in the military leading them. Being students, it's a bunch of high schoolers, so seeing how these teens are having to get used to the fact it's like they're soldiers now and they are already fighting the war. They don't get all the combat training they need. They are immediately thrown into the war, not even finishing high school. Like most war movies since Saving Private Ryan, it's compared a lot to it just because the battle sequences. I think the battle sequences are very well done, very visually interesting. The performances by the actors are believable because it's supposed to be these teens that are like, oh, we were just high schools yesterday. Today, we're fighting our enemies at very close range. It's another emotionally driven film, being a war movie. I really like these kinds of movies. And if you like war films like Saving Private Ryan, this is definitely one to check out. And it's about a story that not many people get to hear about. Next up is another Park Chan-wook film known as I'm a Cyborg, but That's Okay. This is a very interesting romantic comedy about a girl who gets put into an insane asylum after nearly killing herself from the idea that she is in fact a cyborg. In believing she's a cyborg, she doesn't eat food. And obviously you need food to live, so she is slowly killing herself by not eating. She catches the eye of one of the other people inside the mental hospital with her, and he takes a liking to her. He takes it on himself to get her to be healthy and convince her to start eating food again. It's a very weird movie. It's very pleasant visually. It is pretty funny, but like it's more of an offbeat comedy. That's the best way to describe it. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a very different romantic comedy. Very visually entertaining and interesting. It's a lot of fun. The characters were very unique and fun to watch. I'd recommend this movie. My only complaint was the ending was a little eh, but the rest of the movie is so good it didn't really ruin it at all. Highly recommend. This next one is another Kim Ji-woon film known as The Quiet Family. This one, once again, has Choi Min-sik and Song Kang-ho in different roles. And I really like this movie. This is one of those dark comedies that's actually pretty damn funny. It's about this family that keeps a lodge on a mountain where tourists occasionally come by. In an attempt to get business and keep it, they start having to do a little something different to be sure they can keep making money. The very first customer commits suicide in one of the rooms, and rather than report it, they hide the body so they can keep up business and not be known as the place where someone killed themselves. As I said, it's a dark movie, but it's also very funny. It's very well done, combining the elements of a horror and a comedy. This movie was also remade into a Japanese musical by Takashi Miike, one of my favorite directors. So if you had heard of that movie for some reason before this one, I'd recommend watching both. They're different movies based on the same premise, and they're both fun to watch. So The Quiet Family, Happiness at the Katsukuris if you want to watch a Japanese film. Getting back to war movies, this one being about World War II by director Kang Jae-gyu, My Way. My Way is loosely based on the true story of a soldier who fought with several armies throughout the Second World War. Reason I say loosely based, because there wasn't a lot of information on that soldier, they kind of just filled in their own thing and made a very interesting war drama. People like to nitpick on this movie for not being totally historically accurate when it comes to some of the battle sequences, but who gives a shit? It's a good movie, great action, great acting. And so just to tell you a little more what the story is, this soldier, he started out fighting for the Korean army. He was then taken prisoner by the Japanese, being forced on the front lines for them. Upon escaping the Japanese, he ends up with the Russians, and then finally ending up with the Germans on the D-Day invasion. This movie goes through a lot of time, but at the same time, it doesn't feel as exhausting as it could have been, because the movie's also about as long as most of these other war films, but a lot happens within that time frame. If you enjoy war films, like I said, Saving Private Ryan, or if you watch That 71 of Fire like this, I really like these war movies. They're very well done. If you're into war dramas and true life stories, this is another one that's definitely worth your time. Next up is one you've most likely heard of. It's been talked about a lot since its release. I am, of course, talking about the zombie horror film by director Yeon Sang-ho, Train to Busan. Train to Busan is a zombie movie, a genre that's felt kind of dead, with the few hidden gems popping up every couple years or so. This is one of the more serious ones, not so much funny, more leaning to the horror side, and it's done very well. You become concerned for these different characters. The businessman just trying to get his daughter home. The family's trapped on the train with the zombies. It's very interesting. You want to see these characters survive. And what's most unique about this one, a majority of it takes place inside the train during the outbreak. It's very entertaining horror film, zombie film, and drama, thriller, whatever the hell you want to refer to it as. If you're watching any of the more modern zombie movies, this is the one to check out. Train to Busan, go watch it. Lastly, another Korean War film by the same director that did My Way, Taegukgi, The Brotherhood of War. It really follows two brothers that are drafted in to fight the Korean War. The older brother is constantly taking on the riskier missions to ensure that his younger brother is kept safe throughout the war. This is another one of those emotionally driven movies where you get attached to these characters and you want to see them survive in these terrible situations they find themselves in, whether it's on the battlefield, in a POW camp, or even just trying to get along with the rest of the soldiers. And you're also seeing the struggle of things that had happened back home whenever they were away. It also shows a lot of the effect of North and South Korea being so close, but being two totally different systems of thinking a government. It tells a lot of things that we don't really get to hear over here, because for us, Korea is what's just kind of forgotten. Just like most of these other war dramas, it's another one of those like epic sort of movies. A lot of things happen, a lot of just that amount of time. You become invested in these characters. You want to see them make it out, but at times you're just not sure how they're going to get out or if they even are. So Taegukgi, I would highly recommend this one. This is one of the best war films I have seen. I don't know why some of these movies, along with My Way, that I hadn't heard about sooner. A lot of these movies I wish I had known about earlier on, because they're great movies and I wish they had more attention. Luckily, lately I've seen more of these movies being more easily accessible. Like I went to like Walmart, I was able to find some foreign flicks. I'm hoping going forward, thanks to Parasite's win, we'll start seeing a wider availability of these foreign films. Not saying it's like they're impossible to find or anything. It'll just be nice, it's a little more convenient, and that there's more attention given to them. Because not all amazing movies are made here. Some of them you have to go look overseas in other languages to find. Not saying that we're out of good movies over here, but if you want to find even more interesting or unique movies that you've never seen before, you gotta check out some other things. And as Bong Joon-ho already said in his acceptance speech, once you get past the barrier of subtitles, you'll find so many more amazing films, and these are just a few of them. I just wanted to pick a few that I'd like to recommend, and those were it. There are plenty more I could go on talking about. I can even go on talking about these even longer if you want. Hell, I want to just sit down and watch all these movies right now. If you have any recommendations or you want more recommendations, let me know in the comments, or if you know me, message me. Maybe I'll do another one of these for other countries. This one is great. Maybe I'll do Japan next time, or Hong Kong, something. But there's just a lot of great movies out there that I feel deserve a lot more attention than they get.
If you enjoyed what you saw, leave a like, subscribe, and share the video. Don't forget to check out the links in my description so you can keep up with me everywhere else I'm at. I've been Cyborg 616. You've been wonderful. I'll see you next time.